Hello and welcome to the second of our short video tutorial series on utilizing the Home123 mobile listing tag product. My name again is Jeff Cook. I'm president of Home123. And in our last video we left off on creating a QR code and linking it to a property and making sure that that's all set up correctly. And so in this segment we're going to go a little deeper into that and talk about utilizing multiple codes and why you'd want to do that, etc. And so Home123, what we recognize is that this is simply a tool for marketing, and you guys are doing as agents a lot of different types of marketing, not just sign writers, which we've kind of focused on early on, but also marketing in magazines or flyers or postcards or different types of print that are costing you a lot of money. And then it would be nice to know kind of what traction you're getting based on those different marketing types, not only for just to figure out what your costs really are, but also you can show your client that you're actually doing a lot more than other agents in terms of your marketing and your marketing plan. And so in the last segment we left off by linking Info20 to the property at 49 150th and Harvey. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and show you that you can create additional codes. In fact, you can create as many as you want that are linked to this and how that becomes useful. So in this case we've got this code linked to the sign writer. Let's go ahead and add an additional code. And we can name that thing whatever we want. In this case I'm going to name it Info22 just because I have it in there. We'll again link it to 49 150th and Harvey. And let's say in this case I'm going to link it to a postcard. And I'm going to save that record. Okay. So now I've saved that record, and here are my codes. So I have Info20 linked to that property. I also have Info21 linked to that property, and text code Info22 linked to that property. So in this case I have 3 codes, all doing different types of marketing. So one's on the sign writer, one's on the flyer, and one's on a postcard. So Home123 understands that you need to track all this. You need to understand what's going on, or else no marketing is particularly useful unless you know where things are coming from. And so along the tabs on the top, there's a button called Analytics. And if we click on that, that brings us into the tracking systems of Home123. There's some other sections in here that we won't spend a lot of time on, but in reality you're going to spend your time on managed listings, static codes, and analytics to see what's going on. So what we want to do is it'll default to the last code that you created, and you can compare that to different codes on things that are doing. You can set a date range. We'll do all that. But in this case, what I want to do is I just want to see how one property is doing. So I'm going to go ahead and go back up here, and I'm going to click on 49 50th Street. And I don't want to compare that to any properties, although I could compare it to a different property. I can compare it to all properties I have, or the average. And I can also compare it specifically to a code if I want. But we'll go back up here, and I'm going to just select none. I just want to look at this one and how all the marketing I'm doing is affecting this property. And then I need to choose a date range. So today I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and today's the 3rd. So I'm going to just set it back a couple of days. Let's say I want to go back to Sunday. And then I'm going to hit submit. So from Sunday to today, we'll take a look at that date range. And this then brings up all the views that I've seen on this. So what we've got is we've got one hit on static code 21. Static code 22. So in this case, remember the sign writer was 20. We had one hit there. We had one hit off our flyer. And we see no data for the one we just created for 22. So it didn't appear in the list. So we have no data, meaning that all those postcards were just sent out. Nobody looked at them. So what's that mean? Don't send out postcards in this case, right? Or tell the post office you want your money back. But in this case, we'll definitely know where our traction is coming from. Here's at the top. We can also view whether there were text responses, whether they came in from a phone call and then viewed a website, etc. Or we can actually take it and look at all the responses for this property using this, or all responses that came off the phone, and download that data. So that this information is really designed for you to take it in, analyze what the situation is, and utilize that to the best of your advantage, where you can then help your customer understand what's going on. We tell customers this is valuable in 2 ways. First of all, it helps from a listing perspective to show your customer what's going on, not only in terms of how you're going to market and track everything you're doing, but also if you're getting a lot of hits, especially on the aggregate number, if you get 300 hits on a website and people look at this and you have no offers, it makes your job a lot easier in trying to convince that customer to price their property according to the real market value, which is really the hardest thing we have to do as real estate agents, is get our customers to understand what's really going on. And so that's basically how to do multiple codes. In the next section, we'll tackle a little bit more on utilizing the analytics section and also additional code uses, etc., and some best practices.